So to me, it's measure the results and then adjust and adapt based on those results to see if it's working for you or if it's not working for you. Welcome to Life of a CISO. I'm Dr. Eric Cole, your host, and we'll be taking you on a journey each week on what it takes to be a CISO and what are solutions that you can implement today if you are currently a Chief Information Security Officer or if you want to be one in the future. This is Life of a CISO. Welcome to one of my favorite times. It's Life of a CISO with yours truly, Dr. Eric Cole. And I love spending about 30 minutes with you talking about everything you need to be a world-class CISO. Right? We're not about average around here. We don't want to be good enough. I want you to be the best of the best of the best. I'm all about world-class Chief Information Security Officers. Now, what's interesting, as you know, if you've been listening for a while, if you're a new listener, you'll pick this up very quickly. There's more than just the strategy and the technical side in order to be a world-class CISO. You can understand business. You can understand cybersecurity. You can translate. But if you're not healthy, if you're not feeling good, if you get exhausted in the middle of the afternoon, if you run out of energy, you're not going to be able to be world-class. If you don't have clear mindset, if you're not focused on your goals, if you basically put yourself down and saying, nobody listens to me, nobody in the organization understands me, I'm never going to be a world-class CISO, once again, those other things don't matter. Now, I've spent a lot of time recently on going over the mindset, and that's really important. But what I want to do on this episode, and I always do a little bit of the 360, right? Everything you need to be world-class, and then I jump in to the strategy tech piece. And it's really simple. I'm going to give you what you want, but provide you what you need. And you'll notice the order is important. Most of you want what I do in the second half. Most of you want the areas like today I'm going to talk about, are you a CISO or an ISO? Right? Very important difference, and it's gonna really sort of blow some of your minds because it's going to change how you look at things. That's what most of you want when you're tuning in to something called Life of a CISO. However, I care about you. I want you to be world-class. So the beginning section and the reason I do it first is because it's what you really need. And if I gave you what you wanted first, you'd stop listening. So I give you what you need first, right? And then I give you what you want afterwards. So yeah, there's a lot of thinking and strategy. One of the things you'll find with me is very rarely are things coincidental or accidental, right? Well, once in a while it happens, but normally things are very well designed. They seem subtle, but I really think through this because I want to give you the best possible product and the best possible podcast. So what I really want to talk about on what you really need is your overall health. Because let's face it, if you're not feeling good, if you're not an optimal level, how in the world can you be world class? If you're getting sick every few months, if unfortunately you have some ailments or diseases and you miss a lot of work, or you're in the hospital, or you have very low energy levels because blood work is off or things like that, and you just can't function in the afternoon, you're not going to be able to be world class. If you sit there and doze off in meetings, or you're not able to concentrate because of cognitive functions, because that's all impacted by the overall health of your body, you're not going to be able to be world class. And what I often find so amazing is this is a vehicle. Your body is basically a vehicle that is carrying you around while you're on this planet. But most of us take better care of our physical vehicles than our body. I look at people with cars. Most people go in and they get their cars tuned up. I have friends of mine, and this boggles my mind, where they will not miss an oil change. They will get their car, the oil change, done every 4 to 5 months, depending on how they drive it. Whenever there's recommended tune-ups, whenever the check engine light or any of that stuff comes, their car is at this dealership or the shop at least 3 to 4 times a year, getting tuned up, making sure it's running, making sure it's operational. Yet they haven't had a physical, had blood work or been to a doctor in 2.5 years. I'm just like, wait a second. A car that's replaceable, a car that if it stopped working, you could get a new one, you care more about than your body that if it stopped working, you're gone, right? You don't get another body, right? Now, once again, I'm not getting in whether you believe in reincarnation or any of that. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about your current instance on planet Earth right now. If your body stops functioning and shuts down, you're basically done for this journey, right? You can't go and say, "Oh, I'm gonna get another body," right? It just doesn't make sense. But cars, you can, yet you take better care of them. That doesn't make any sense to me, right? An example of this, and I just couldn't resist. But I love Corvettes, love sports cars. So I'm at the gas station, and there was a fellow Corvette owner. So I went over to him, and I was just talking to him. And I noticed something. I was looking at the Corvette, and I'm looking at the gas tank and going, "Hey, you're putting premium gas in the Corvette?" He's like, "Of course. Only the best for my baby," right? That's what he said. And I said, "Well, why won't you put that lower end stuff?" "I'm not going to put that crap in this car. I'm only going to put the best. I got to take care of the engine." And I kid you not that there's anything wrong with them, but as he's saying this, he's eating a Twinkie and drinking a very sugary soda. And I just couldn't help it but go, dude, you're taking better care of your car than your body. He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You said you wouldn't put that crap in your car. You want to put that low end," that's exactly what he said, "into his car." "Of course not." I said, "But why are you putting that crap into your body?" And it was this weird, he never thought about, like, it was this weird thing where it was like, and I kid you not, he looks at me and goes, "Dude, you changed my life." And he literally took the half-eaten Twinkie and the sugary soda and dumped it in the trash. Now, who knows what he is or is not going to do, but it just boggled my mind because he never thought about it that way. We take better care of our worldly possessions than we take care of our body. Now, I'm not saying we can't enjoy things in life. Trust me, I still have I'm gonna tonight have my periodic Haagen-Dazs. I'm so super pumped. The reason I'll share a huge win with you. The reason why I'm on the healthcare kick and I'm bringing it up now is because literally yesterday, less than 12 hours ago, I finished a 5-month cut. Now, if you're not familiar, cutting is a process in weightlifting or bodybuilding where essentially you drop your body fat and you get back to very, very lean muscle mass, and then you use that to basically build a foundation. You just get back to a very good, healthy state. So over the last 5 months, I went from 212 pounds and overall 19% body fat, and yesterday finished the cut at 9% body fat, and I had a DEXA scan, so it's not like I'm just making this stuff up, and weighed in at 180. And that basically finished up my cut where I wanted to be. So yes, tonight I'm giving myself a little reward, right? Because at the end of the cut, when you're pushing it really hard, you're at about 1,200 calories. You're cranking up the protein. You're pretty low on carbs and low on fat because you want to burn that last bit, but you got to keep the protein to keep the muscle mass. So there's no ice cream or pizza or any of that stuff. But then I got there. And now, once again, I'm going to maintain it, but you have a little rewards there. So it's a balance. It's a balance in life. But I'm here to tell you that I don't care what the literature says. You can have six-pack abs at 52, because I do. Now, I had a friend I was telling him that I was going to bring it up in the podcast, like, you should show them. I'm like, dude, that's not this type of podcast where I'm going to start lifting up my shirt and taking my right. Trust me, that we don't need that type of podcast. That's a different podcast that I'm definitely not going to partake in. But the point is, I can tell you, I know some of you are local, and you run into me at the gym and you come up and say hi. I can definitely show you that. But I'm here to tell you, and it's not subtle. I mean, they are pretty ripped six packs. I'm super proud of it. And the point of it is to encourage you. You can get in shape. I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, you can get in shape. The question is, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting? Most people wait until they're diagnosed with a serious injury or they're put on a lot of prescription drugs before they start taking seriously about their health. But why not? I encourage you. I encourage and challenge all of you. Just want to take a quick break. I hope you're enjoying the show. I have this free webinar that I would love for you to check out if you want to become a world-class CISO. Why don't you put yourself on a regimented 5-month program now? You don't have to go crazy like me, and I'm not encouraging that because it's a pretty intense program, but the point is, why not something as simple as pick a number? What I actually shot for, just so you know, was that I was going to get back to my high school pant size. In high school, I was 32 waist. I got up to 36, right? So I was up to 36 there. My goal was to get down to 32. And honestly, I underestimated because I actually got down to 30. I didn't think I could get less because I thought I was pretty lean and mean when I was in high school, but I'm actually now at a 30 pant size here, which it's real funny when I had to go to court last week and I forgot about that aspect, and your pants don't really fit you anymore, right? So you got to like bunch them in the back, and fortunately at court you wear a jacket, so if the pants are bunched in the back, you can get away with it. But yeah, I got to go and get some new suits now, which I guess is a good problem to have. But just pick a goal. Whether it's drop a few pant sizes, drop some weight, get back in healthy, get good blood work, lower your blood pressure, right? Whatever it is, I just encourage you to start taking your health seriously, because the healthier you are and the more optimized your body is, the more world-class you can become. Wouldn't it be great if you could get up at 5 a.m, hit the gym, be at work at 7:30, work till 6, have the energy all day long. You don't get tired. You don't need a nap. You never run out of energy. You're going strong. You go home. You spend a couple hours with the kids, time with the spouse, significant other. You go to bed and you're feeling great. Wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? Unlimited energy, right? Limitless in what you could do, because if you optimize the body, you absolutely can. The reason why you drag, the reason why you have cognitive issues, the reason why you get tired is because your body is not in optimal shape. Now, I spent the time here really talking about the exercising piece, and I encourage that. But once again, it also comes down to the food, right? You can go to the gym and exercise for 2 hours a day, but if you have it, and nothing wrong with it, 3 pints of ice cream and 2 pizzas, right, you're not going to get the results that you want on that front. On the other hand, if all you care about is pant size and all you care about is losing the weight, you don't need to go to the gym for that. Because if you just cut and reduce food and calories, you'll get there, but you're not really going to be healthy if you're not optimized. So lifting weights and having at least some tone and some cardio and some things like that is going to get you in that optimal state that you need. So I just urge all of you, after you listen to this in the next day, set some goals. Get your family involved in the goals. Those are the best way. Get your significant other involved with the goals, but set some goals around your health. Set some goals around what you're going to eat. And it could be simple things that you're going to have fast food 1 time a week instead of 5, right? Or simple things along those lines. But the point is, now is the time to start taking your health seriously. Now is the time to start exercising. Now is the time to start eating healthy, because you want to fix it before you have a major problem. And here's really the exercise. Well, if you're not sure or you're stuck, you're not where to go, it's simple. Here's the assignment. For the next 7 days, I want you to go in and keep an activity, food, and how you feel journal. So it's real simple. You carry the journal around, wake up at 6 o'clock, have coffee, have eggs, bacon, bagel, whatever it is. Go to the office. And basically what you're doing is you're writing down, if you don't exercise or go to the gym, that's fine. You're writing that down. And then you're writing down your food. And then every 2 hours, set an alarm on your phone. Every 2 hours, I want you to just write down, how do you feel? Do you feel optimized and energetic? Do you feel a little tired and sluggish? Do you feel sort of disconnected? So sort of just write down a couple of words of how you feel. And then I want you to do that for a week. And then go back and look at the data. And I think what you're going to notice is when you don't eat healthy food, when you eat garbage, when you put crap in, if you look at a couple of hours later, because there's always a lag, you're going to notice that corresponds with you not feeling good. And you're not doing great. And when you do eat healthy and you do eat a good meal, you're going to start to notice that that's correlated with some of your most productive time when you're getting the most things done. Then I want you to start adding in some exercise. Go to the gym for 40, 50 minutes. I like 5-minute warm-up cardio, a 45-minute workout, a 10-minute cardio at the end. Once again, lots of resources online. If there's health issues, consult your doctor, right? I'm not giving any medical advice here. Definitely consult your doctor. Tons of resources out there and available. I love bodybuilding.com. I have no association with them. They have tons of great programs. I really enjoy Jim Stoppani, Stoppani. He has some great workouts out there that I really like and enjoy. So there's resources out there and available for you. Then I want you to start exercising and keep the journal. And you're going to notice the days you exercise are going to correspond with the days that you're the most productive. And then you're going to start really correlating, going, when I exercised this morning and I had a healthy breakfast, I had the most productive morning. And then when I had a healthy lunch and I went for a little walk at lunch because it was nice out, I actually wasn't tired in the afternoon. I felt really good. And you're going to start noticing the correlation between those events. And then you'll be able to start to tune and optimize. So to me, it's measure the results and then adjust and adapt based on those results to see if it's working for you or if it's not working for you. But like I said, I'm really, really big on health. I'm really big on fitness, really big on eating healthy, because once again, you optimize your body and you're unstoppable and can do anything you want. Now what I want to do is spend the second half. This is the part that you want. What I just did is what you needed. Is this week, I've been doing a lot of coaching, and I've noticed that there's this trend of people having the title of Chief Information Security Officer, but they're really not a chief. They're really a ISO or an Information Security Officer. So the question I started asking my clients is, are you a CISO? Or are you an ISO or an ISO? It's pronounced differently. Here's the difference. Chiefs focus on the business as their top priority. Non-chiefs focus on the business line as their top priority. So if we just go in and we look at a chief operating officer, a COO, I will tell you that COO's primary responsibility is on the bottom line of the business. How can we operate the business most efficiently? How can we increase profitability, increase margins, increase valuation? That's what that chief is focusing on. Now, if you go to a director or a vice president of a business unit, they're really an operating officer. They're not a chief. They're operating officers. Those operating officers are usually 100% focused on their business line, on improving their business line. Sometimes, and we see this happen, to the detriment of other business lines, right? Because all they care about is they're responsible for this, right? And that's what they're going to do. Now, notice the difference. A chief is responsible for everything, and an operating officer is responsible for a single vertical. So same analogy here. If you're a chief information security officer, or you're a chief operating officer, or a chief financial officer, if you're a chief, your primary focus is the overall business. You're looking at everything overall broadly. But if we remove the chief and you just become an ISO, you just become an information security officer, now you only cared about your business unit. You only care about cybersecurity. You only care about optimizing cybersecurity and making cybersecurity the best it is within the organization. And hopefully you're starting to see that big difference. So my question is for those that are in the title, do you have a CISO title? Are you really a CISO or are you really an ISO? Are you really focused on the business or are you focused just on the cybersecurity business line? And then the other question comes up, and comes up in the coaching. If you're not a CISO yet and you think you want to be, do you really want to be a CISO or do you want to be an ISO? Because many folks really just want to focus on cybersecurity. They want to do some, don't get me wrong, an information security officer still develops strategy for the security unit. They're still doing strategic type things. They're more than a security engineer. Security engineers are focused just on solving a specific problem. An information security officer is all about optimizing the entire security department, optimizing security as much as possible, making that security business line as efficient and optimized as it could be. That's what some people want to do. That's what they enjoy. They want to get more strategic. They want to build out the overall security architecture. They want to go in and put together the product roadmap of what products they should or should not implement within the business. They basically want to do the risk assessment, the analysis, and make that security department as optimized as they can. That's awesome. But then be very clear. You just want to be an information security officer. You just want to focus on that area. You don't want to be a chief. And that, to me, is the biggest thing that's broken today when it comes to chief information security officers is nobody understands the chief component. And the reason why many executives don't listen to the CISO and the CISO doesn't have a seat at the table is because they're not really a CISO. And this is something that's always boggled and bothered my mind is you have an organization where you have the CEO, the COO, the CFO, the chief legal counsel, the CIO. Those five are almost always at board meetings. They're always having weekly executive meetings. They're always having offsites, and they're always focused on talking about the business. Yet the chief information security officer is usually one of the few C's or the only C that's not included. They're the only C that's not invited to the party. And I'll be honest with you, the reason is simple. Companies think they need to check a box and say they have a CISO. But because that person isn't really at the chief level and doesn't really focus on the business as their top priority, and they know that, they give them the title, but they don't give them the authority that goes along with it, and they don't invite them to the meetings they should be. So I'll tell you right now, if there's meetings going on with all the other chiefs and you're not invited, you need to go in and have a soul search and either say, okay, I need to fix this and start thinking about and focusing the business and on the business, or I need to resort that I'm an ISO with a CISO title. And once again, as long as you're honest with yourself and recognize it, it's going to alleviate a lot of stress. It's going to alleviate a lot of issues and a lot of problems. Because if you really want to be a chief information security officer and you're not focused, number one, on the business and number two, on security secondary, you're going to be frustrated. And it's what I had with a client this week of where the discussion came up where they're like, Eric, I'm just so angry that I have the CISO title, but they're not including me in the meetings. Nobody listens to me. They just had an offsite with all the executives and I wasn't invited and I wasn't included. And I said, it's easy. It's because the role you are playing is not aligned with the role of a CISO. Because if you truly were focused on the business, they would invite you to those meetings. And any of you that have taken, we're rolling out some specialized training to help folks. If you've taken the specialized training on how to become a CISO, how to get a job as a CISO, One of the things I have four key steps that will almost guarantee results, but I can't guarantee because attorneys don't like that. But if you put in the work, high probability of success is what we use. But when you go on the interview, the whole focus of the interview is I want you talking about the business. I want you going in and as soon as you can steer the direction towards, I looked at the financials for the company, and if it's publicly traded, it's easy. Even if it's private, the numbers are still out there. You can say, I looked at the finances for the company. I know that currently we're operating at about 300 million, and we have about a 40% profit. And from what I can tell, we don't have a lot of intellectual property, so our valuation is probably 2 or 3x. If you want to be a true CISO and you want to get a CISO position, when you interview, you talk about the business. You talk about the business. Now, yes, just like a COO is focused on optimizing operations to make the business successful, and a CFO is focused on optimizing finances to make the business successful, and you as a CISO is focused on optimizing security to make the business successful, making the business successful is the number one, and then your specific area of focus is number two. And a lot of people get those backwards. A lot of people get those confused. So if you truly want to be a CISO, then think about the business first and how you can make cybersecurity a business enabler secondary. And if you're currently a CISO and you're struggling, or you're not included in the meetings, or you're not invited to the party with everyone else, start talking more about the business to the other executives. And the best place to start is first with the CFO. Just contact them and say, listen, be honest. I've been the CISO at this company for 9 months, and what I've realized is I'm too focused on cybersecurity. I'm too focused on my business unit, and I'm not really operating at the chief level to really help the business the way that I should. And I realized the first starting point is I need to better understand the finances. I know you're super busy, but I'm wondering if you have a meeting, CFOs normally have a weekly or monthly meeting with the other financial people in the company where they go over the numbers, they review the budget sheet. They usually do monthly and quarterly reviews, and just say, listen, I'm wondering if I can sit in on some of those meetings. I just want to better understand the business and understand what's happening. Now, a couple things going to happen there. One, word is going to start spreading because you start going to those meetings and you start understanding. Now, the first couple of meetings you go to, you really want to be in listen mode. You really don't want to be asking a lot of questions. You don't want to hijack the meeting. You don't want to do anything that disrupts the flow. You just sort of want to listen. And then after a month, when you sort of listen and read and research and do a lot on your own, then you've proven to the CFO that you do want to learn, that you're willing to invest the time, energy, and effort. And then and only then do you ask them, can we meet for 30 minutes every other week? Or can we grab coffee once a week? I just have a few questions that I want to better understand. And then they're going to start talking. The CFO is going to start talking to the COO, and CEO go, you know, that CISO person, I'm really impressed. They're really getting more involved in the business and really starting to understand the business and the finances. Then after 2 or 3 months of this, then you can go and start recommending some business level ideas to the COO and COO. And then you can start asking them, listen, I know the first 9 months at the company, I felt that I needed to spend more time on the business unit of security to clean it up. And that was a deliberate decision. And if that was the wrong decision, I apologize. But now I think that we're in a position where I have that division optimized, and I'd like to really step into the CISO role and really help use cybersecurity as a business enabler and focus more on how I can help the business and understand the business. I was wondering, could I sit in on the next quarterly meeting? I won't participate. I won't say anything. I just sort of want to sit in and understand and learn more about the business. I've been spending the last quarter understanding the financial side with the CFO, and now I'd like to start understanding the business. what most people don't do, which holds them back significantly, is they don't ask. I just laid that out for one of my clients that's in the same position. And his whole response was, Eric, that's not going to work. They're not. I'm like, have you tried it? And they're like, no, simple question. Have you tried what I said? And they said, no. So you don't know if it's going to work. Now, you might have tried it at a different company and it didn't work, but you haven't tried it at this company. Then my next question is, even if you did, have you tried it twice? Because sometimes it takes 7, 8, or 9 times. As I always joke with people, if you ask somebody for something and they don't give you the answer you want, figure out why, fix it, and then ask again. Unless they file a restraining order on you, right? Keep going. So let's say what I just suggested. You go to the CFO and they either say, no, or we're too busy. Go and say, listen, I really want to learn this. What do I need to do, or what do I need to learn so you'd be willing to let me sit in on your meetings? Now, it's really hard for them to say impossible. What I found in those cases, they're going to be, well, if you read this book or you take this course or you do this, and I know that you have some understanding of finances and balance sheets, then I'll do that. So start asking, and if you don't get the answer you want, say, what do I need to do so I'll be able to do this? What are the things or the gaps that you see right now that you'd like me to do? Now, worst case scenario, might not be the right company for you. And you might need to take the experience and move on to another company. But I really want you thinking, are you playing the role of a real chief? Or are you really playing the role of just an information security officer? I hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Life of a CISO. It's time to get pumped. Right? I want to see a bunch of ripped, right, healthy, energetic cybersecurity professionals running around the gyms, right, and super healthy and running marathons and triathlons and all that great stuff. And then ask yourself, soul search. Are you really focused on the business? Are you really playing the role of a chief? Or are you really too hyper-focused on cybersecurity? Have a great week, and I'll see you on next week's edition of Life of a CISO.